Hello, I'm Stephen Koon, and in this video, we're going to continue where we left off on our Twitter data. So we put in the get Twitter processor. We went ahead and set that up real quick for recap. We put in the keys and everything. You got to get that information from Twitter. So if you don't know how, look at the last video so you can catch back up on this part. And then from here, we are sending it into a Jolt Transform Json so we can strip away the unneeded data that we don't want out of this and only keep what we do want. Now, before I send it on, I said I would go over how to use query record processor next. But before I do that, I want to actually create a couple attributes. So we'll grab that real quick. JSON, we're going to take our JSON and use an evaluate JSON path. Take that, add that there. Okay, we got the success now. And what is it that we want to add? Well, what I'm looking for out of the data to add in here that might be kind of useful, we're just going to take the name because we'll show you how we're using this in a little bit. So name is a variable, or attribute name, and then there's the path for it. So now we have that there. Empty string, the rest of it can be fine. We need to put this and send it to the attributes. Flow file attributes, auto detect. Okay, we're done here. So that's just so we can do some extra work with this processor. Now let's go ahead and get back to the query record. Okay, query record, there it is. We're going to go ahead and attach that real quick. And we're going to do matches. We'll terminate the failure and unmatched because we're not handling those right now. And we have this completed now. Let's tighten it up a little bit so we can see better. Okay, so what we want to do now is, there's many ways to do this, but we're going to use query record to actually accomplish it. And what we're trying to accomplish is taking the data that we get from our JSON here and cleaning it up a little bit. We're going to do what this query record is meant to do. We're going to go ahead and transform the data a little bit, filter it out a little bit too, and play around with that. So first of all, let's go ahead and get some data flowing. We're good there. JSON should be working for the Jolt. That's cleaning up our data. And then the path should be working. Ooh, got something wrong. And then I go check it out real quick. Okay, so trying to troubleshoot this. Things didn't happen. We don't want that. We want to see what the data looks like. And make sure I didn't spell anything wrong or anything like that. Pretty sure I didn't though. Oh, okay, it was because we had an empty record maybe. That's a possibility. So let's go ahead and, are always empty? Let's get some more in there real quick. This is on a timer. Let's stop that real quick. Put that back to 0. There we go, call back up. Let's make sure we have some data flowing through. Okay, good. So this one. There we go. Just verified it is name, so that's correct. But as we see these 4 kilobyte ones, or 4 byte ones, I'm guessing these are all null. Yes, they are. All right then. So, and the reason that's happening, if we look at this, is probably happening somewhere in here, or the data is actually coming to us null. So we need to handle those. And let's take a look at one of those again. Look at their properties. So attribute, it's not there, man. Size 4 bytes. That might be the way we do this. Let's go ahead and remember that. We also have files. But these are not attributes, so we can't use them like that. Okay, so it's happening from our Jolt. We might just let some of these air out. Do not have valid JSON content. Yeah, so it's because of it is definitely because of that. Warn, ignore. We already have that on. Okay, so we'll let this go. We'll see some make it through. And the ones that are airing out right now. So we'll leave that. And we'll come back later and we'll figure out how we want to handle those. All right, so let's keep moving on though, because we did say we'd cover query record. So the way query record works is it does need a reader and a writer. So let's go ahead and, oh, we don't have any here, right? But we did make readers and writers back inside of our other area. So if we come back out here to the flow, we can see inside of USGS, right? We have a reader and writer in there. If we go inside, go ahead and select that. Yeah, they're right here. But we don't have access to them because they're inside of different processor groups, and we didn't build it at the NiFi flow level. We built them inside of the USGS data processor group. So they don't exist out here because they're isolated. So the way we'll do that is double click on this real quick. We'll go ahead and select reader. And from the dropdown, we'll say create a new service inside of this one. We'll go ahead and find the one we want, which is going to be JSON tree reader. And the writer is going to be our JSON writer. So we'll go ahead and select the JSON record set writer. We got both those in there now. And include zero record flow files. No, we don't want to do that. We'll just get rid of those. Apply. Now, one thing that's not right is if we unselect and then go ahead and come in here, we see they're not enabled yet. So let's go ahead and enable one at a time. That one's done. And our reader is done. All right, so it takes care of that portion. Now we have the evaluate JSON working just fine. Everything above it's working. We just have to take care of that, and we'll handle for the errors a little bit later. So first, we're going to go and finish up the query, though. Now, the way the query record works is query record uses Apache calcite as its SQL language. So make sure you get the correct functions and what's available and stuff like that. You want to come to the Apache, the calcite.apache.org site, and under standard SQL. So it's not under here, you'll be able to go ahead and search for all the functions and everything and find the ones that you're looking for. Just like when you're using like Teradata or T-SQL, not everything has the same functions, or like Oracle. So you want to be able to look them up and see how you can apply those functions to what you're trying to do. All right, so now we're going to come back here, and we're going to go inside the query, let's go ahead and look at the usage real quick. So inside the usage, you have the reader, the writer, where we know about those, zero, the cache schema if you have one. And then we have dynamic properties. Dynamic properties allow the user to specify both the name and the value of a property. The name, so if we go to name, we see the name of the relationship to route data to. And then the value is a SQL select statement that is used to determine what data should be routed to this relationship. So we can go ahead and set that up. We can basically have a whole bunch of queries spawning off of this to do different things, route things different ways, right? So that's what it lets us do. So let's go ahead and go inside of it. We already set up that part. Now we just gonna go ahead and add a property. We're gonna call this one, let's just call it query 1. Now let's go ahead and take this, open it up some more so we have some room to work with. And let's build out our query real quick. So we get our select. We can do a select everything, right? And then from. Now, where are we selecting from? Well, in this case, we're selecting from flow files. So we would need to reference a flow file. Oops. Flow file. And that will run the query against the flow file itself and give us the results back. Keep in mind right now, we're bringing these in as one record basically per flow file. So we're running a select query against one record total. Where if we would have had a flow file of like say 10,000 records, it would run it against the entire thing. In this case though, there's a couple changes I want to make here. So I do want to keep the majority of what we already have in here. Let me bring that over here. So I want to keep the ID string, the text, the name. Now remember, we turned name into a attribute as well for the flow files, so that's existing there. But because it's in the content, now the query gets ran against the content of the flow file, not the attributes, unless you specify that, and you actually can. So I'm going to show you how we do that. So we come here and then we say we're going to reference the attribute name. Close that. Name at. And that'll be our attribute. We can go ahead and say, okay, apply. We need to send this somewhere for temporary. We also want to make sure that this doesn't run too many at once, so we'll do one every 5 seconds. And we'll send them down to the wait. Query 1, so you can select that. Come back in here, we're going to terminate the failure in the original. And hopefully we don't get any errors. Oh, we got an error. It's probably going to be my attribute. Now, check this out. So inside the error here, you can actually see underneath source name and then our name at, we can see the value was actually there. So it did find the value, but for some reason it's erroring out. And it's probably because it doesn't like the value. The way the SQL is trying to handle it, it doesn't want to handle that correctly. So we need to figure out how we're going to handle for it. Now, normally this can take some trial and error. You would go in here, maybe be like, oh, okay, what's another way to do this? Can we cast it as a varchar? Oops, my bad. Cast that as varchar 50. And I don't know, maybe that'll work, maybe it won't. Apply, because the problem is probably the special characters. Oh, that did not work either. We can go here so we can see the special characters are showing up inside that. But I think we get the point here, right? I mean, we'd have to figure out how we're going to handle that exactly to deal with the special characters. Which might be making sure that you add double quotes around it. But in this case, we don't actually need it. It was just, I just added it so we can have a representation of how the attribute part worked. You can also use NiFi expression language inside of here as well. So if we get rid of that real quick, go back here, apply. You can see up here at the top, it says it accepts expression language supported and parameters are supported as well. So we can literally use the NiFi expression language to help populate that as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and get rid of those. Let's do one of these. We see it worked because very simple, right? We're just doing a select all basically, except we named everything. So that comes out. Now I'd like to make a change here. One of the changes I want to do is add the date time, because we didn't put that in there, the create at. Now create at was in the weird format. That really isn't what I want to bring over to our final product. So we're going to use this opportunity to go ahead and change how we do it. And the way we're going to do it is a substring. Created at, and I want to put it in the order of year, month, day. So let me go ahead and get this, make it wider. Let's see, created at, and then first one is going to be for year 27, and then 4 out. And the way you do a concat inside of a cal site is double bars. We'd break, go ahead and put our dash in there, close that, double bars again. Now, save ourselves a little time here. Let's go ahead. I already have the entire thing finished. And there we go. So we have our year position, our month and our day, and then another space, and we're bringing in the entire string for time and the offset. Let's go ahead and apply that. Let's get rid of this. And then we'll go ahead and get one of those out. We can view this and make sure we got the output that we were looking for. And there you go. DT is 2020 February 1, 6:15:04, offset 0. And then we have all of our other values that we're looking for too. So very nice. Let's go ahead and close that. And it did exactly what we wanted, right? Can't ask for much more than that. Now, what else could we do here? Well, we could bring another one in here and add another query. And whoops, don't want to do that yet. Let's go into the query, and I'm trying to think what we can add that would quickly give us a result. So say we want to filter. So we go ahead and put where, and in this case, let's filter on text. Filter text like. Go ahead and put a wildcard in there. And let's go ahead and, oh, here's a good one because it's in the news all the time. So I think we should be able to filter on this. Coronavirus. And what we should get is anywhere where the text of the tweet has coronavirus in it as one word, just like this, anywhere placed inside of this text field, we should be able to get a result back, and it should filter to this query. So, whoops. Wait a minute. Stop. Delete that. I meant to add another one, not modify the existing one. So we add another one, coronavirus. There's the content of it, so if we go ahead and hover over it, we can see we have our where in there. Apply. Now we can go ahead and tell it to go over here. And we'll let tweets just move on through pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and get that going. We have 10,000 queued up, so hopefully we should find one pretty quickly. Oh, look, we already found one. Nice. So let's see what we have. Oh, we have a whole bunch now. Let's go ahead and view it. Format, and even though it's in a different language, we do see that the hashtag of coronavirus was used twice, matter of fact. So it found this because it's in two different spots. So this is a really cool way to use this to filter things out. Or you know what's another one too? So let's go ahead and copy this again. We'll stop this one. And then we're going to go ahead and grab this again. And let's say iPhone. Add that there. And then for this filter, it's going to be where text like coronavirus. So the same thing we had, and source like iPhone. I didn't check the look and see if it had a capital P in there. But you know what? We can account for that by saying, you know what, source lowercase. Let's match it up against the lowercase source. So convert everything to lowercase first, and then go ahead and look for our lowercase iPhone if it exists in there. So basically we're saying all the tweets that are on coronavirus or that have coronavirus in their text, we want to filter them. We want to send only the ones that came across iPhone this direction. And that should work. So we're going to go ahead and empty this guy out because it's kind of backed up. All right. Let's go ahead and play. And then you see we have 17 and 1. So they're moving along different rates here. Now we already filled that one up, so let's go ahead and take a look at this one. Look at the first one in here, view that. Take a look at the source, contains the iPhone in the source. Okay, perfect. So that one worked. Now, problem is that we know we don't have all iPhones because, or well, these are all iPhones, right? Yep, they are. And see, here's the example, capital. So in this case, iPhone shows up small and lowercase here, but the P is uppercase in this part of it. Now, the difference being with this route right here is this query is doing coronavirus, so it will get these guys plus anything that's a different device. So there's only 6 that came across in that time period, so let's see if we can find one that's different. Oops. There you go. This one's on the Android. So these are Android. Matter of fact, we can do this too. Let's go back to the coronavirus one. Oh, it's not stopped, is it? Stop. Nice. And then we'll go back to, get out of there. I can't see. Okay, back to this one again. And source, lower source, like Android. Now this is being very specific, right? So this one will only give us iPhone tweets. This one will only give us Android tweets. So we can go ahead and empty those. And if it's a different device that's not one of those two OSs, well, we're not going to get them. So we'll end up filtering those out completely from these two routes. But they'll go to this one. So we can go ahead and restart. There we go. We got one each so far. Oh, trying to change a little bit more here. Okay, so this is full, so which stops everything else. So really quick here. Let's go ahead and take a look at this one. List the queue. Android only. Android only. Okay, so it's probably safe to say we can probably check check more, but it looks like we're good to go. So we'll end here. Remember, Calcite is the SQL language I use in Apache's Calcite, and that's how you do that for using the functions and stuff out here to populate your queries using the query record. So when we come back, we'll continue expanding this a little bit more and doing some more with it, and maybe try to tie it in somehow to our USGS data. I mean, we could do a filter for earthquakes. I mean, every time someone texts us about an earthquake that could be going on or that they're experiencing, we could see those tweets come through only and then use that to enrich our data. So I'll catch you next time. Remember to like and subscribe down below if you want to continue to see more content. And till then.